As you all aware that today we are living in a crisis situation, and just Oliver St. Stephens has taken the initiative to maintain the research atmosphere during this pandemic. And before, without wasting time, I am just going to my research talk. Before just talking about my presentation, I will be just mentioning what I am doing currently. My area of interest is special functions. I'm mainly working in the area of special functions, and also I work on fractional calculus, integral transforms, as well as reaction rate theory in astrophysics. These are the research areas where I am interested in. And uh, whenever I start my talk, I used to say a few words about the great mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan, because one of his saying has always motivated me when I was doing my research work. That is nothing but an equation for me has no meaning unless it expresses a thought of God. Uh, as I understand, this words means that sometimes when we do research, we should think that our equations or our findings should be somewhat useful for the mankind. That is what I understand from these words of Srinivasa Ramanujan. And today we are all fortunate that today it's a special day for us also, the mathematics community, because we are celebrating the pi approximation day today. Because July 22nd is a pi approximation day in those countries where we follow the date and month format. So here we follow the date and month format. So that is why we can celebrate this pi approximation day, July 22nd. And in many places it is called as the casual pi day also, because to commemorate the finding of the word pi. As I hope you all know that what is pi. Pi is a relation connecting the circumference of the circle as well as its diameter. Now, when we talk about today, we should also not forget the mathematician Wilhelm Bessel, who was also born today in Germany. And I hope you all know Bessel function, because Bessel function is a very famous function which we use in engineering sciences, as well as in differential equation. You may have studied the Bessel polynomials also. It has a lot of applications in engineering as well as in applied sciences. So with this inspirations, I start my talk. So the primary question is, what is research? Uh, so before that, let us see what are the opportunities of a graduate in mathematics. Many people ask what, usually ask after a graduation in mathematics, what they can do. What are the possible ways they can nurture their career? So many opportunities are there for a mathematics graduate as well as a postgraduate is concerned. Uh, if you see, he can go to a actuarial profession or insurance profession, or he can choose an accountancy profession by taking up a commerce post graduation, or they can join the bank in the investment as well as the retail sector, or they can go for MCA and go for the computing or IT sector, or they can again come back to BTech or MTech. In engineering sciences they can go, or another important opportunity is there in statistical research, where they can go for biomedical research or business research, which is nowadays very important research. In the statistical research is very important in, nowadays, to test the medicines or its validity or its durability. These things can be tested, or these studies related to statistical research. And otherwise they can go for a management studies, that is like MBA they can choose, or they can go for an operations research, where they can test the in the industries or as well as in the sports, where they predict the better out of the present situation. So besides this, when a graduate is concerned in mathematics, the main ways that he can nurture is, of course, going for teaching or research. Suppose he goes for a post graduation which leads to a PhD, then we come to the arena of research. So it is a very good opportunity for a mathematics graduate to go for research in mathematics. So now, before going further into deep, I will say what is research. What is research? Now, as far as Wikipedia is defines research as a creative and systematic work which is done for the collection of knowledge. Now, this can be a knowledge about the humans or culture or society or some applications which we derive from this research. Okay, but research is actually derived from a Middle French word, which is research. Research means to go about to seeking. Or this is actually derived from a word called researcher, which is a combination of two words, re plus searcher, and which is means search. So I also like to define research as research because it is a searching of something what we have already learned to refine our knowledge to find some new applications. This is what research means. Now, also we can define research as a logical and systematic search for new useful information on a particular topic. It is not necessary that it should be in a scientific community. It can be non-scientific also. Research can be done in non-scientific field also. Now, next is how research is done. That is a primary question. We usually do research with the help of studies, experiments, observations, analysis, comparison, or reasoning. These are the ways in which we do our research. Now, what we collect from these? We may collect different informations by using these methods, and we may collect experiments, experience, human beings, books, journals, nature, etc. So these are the things which we use, we do in research. Now, next question is, what is the objective of research? See, there should be some objective for doing the research work. So it is nothing but sometimes the objective may be to discover new facts. Sometimes it may be to verify and test important facts, or sometimes it may be to analyze an event or a process, whether it is good or not. That is biomedical research. They used to check whether the medicine is good or not, or it is working or not. And nowadays, many people are going, many researchers are going behind the invention of the COVID vaccine. So these all things come under this category. To or sometimes to overcome or to solve some problems which occur in our daily life. This can also happen. Sometimes we want to refine our livelihood. So in that case, we start our research, how we can make it better. This is also a part of research. Or to find the solution of some scientific or non-scientific or social problems. This is also an objective of research. Or sometimes we may want to find what is the causes of something. If something is happened, what is the causes of this? Then for that also we used to do research. Or to understand some scientific or non-scientific problems. Or sometimes to develop new scientific tools, concepts, or theories. These are the objectives what we do through which we do research. But there should be a motivation for research. For if you want to do research, there should be at least some motivation. Otherwise, we won't be able to do research because nobody will do research unless they will get something out of it. So what are the possible motivations from research? So sometimes it may be to get a research degree, or to become a scientist in a research institution, or to get a research position in a foreign countries, or to solve the challenging problems, or to get the joy of some creative work, or to acquire some respectability or recognition, or to find some unknown facts, or sometimes to solve some social problems. These are the motivations for doing research. Now, so these are the motivations for research. Now, the primary question is how to start, or how the mathematics research proceeds. So who can do the research in mathematics? See, usually we say that a postgraduate in mathematics with keen interest in a subject can do research. This is true as far as the person who is going for getting a PhD degree. If he wants a PhD degree, then this, of course, this postgraduate degree is essential. Otherwise, for doing research, it is not necessary that we should need a post graduation or a graduation. It should be only an interest in the subject which leads to research. You can see many people working even in a small ages. They used to find so many, they used to do so many discoveries and inventions in these areas. So, but since we are focused on a research leading to PhD or a good career in research, we will be focusing on a person who is having a postgraduate degree. So first step, what is the first step to do start our research work? It is the two options are with us. Either you select a research topic of your choice and start research on that particular topic, or you find a suitable place for research work. These are the two equally important things where we begin our research work. Sometimes people are interested in a particular subject, and that particular subject may not be in some places. So in it, we have to find some place where this particular subject is being, the research in this particular subject is being going on. So that may be one reason, and we will be looking into that area. But first of all, let us see what are the places where, what are the good places to start our research work. So there are a lot of places in India where good research is going on. I hope you all know these things. That is Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. That is a top institute in India as far as NIRF is concerned. The new ranking has given IISc as a top one ranking. And then comes good research is going on in Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Then comes Harish Chandra Research Institute, Allahabad, and then exclusively for mathematics, the Indian Institute of Math Science, that is in Chennai. That is a good place for doing research. Or Chennai Mathematical Institute is a good place for research. And nowadays, you have seen that who was the founder of Chennai Mathematical Institute, Dr. Seshadri, has passed away recently, and so many IITs, that is 23 IITs are there where we can do our mathematics research. Out of this, the 10 IITs, that is Chennai, Delhi, Bombay, Kanpur, Kharagpur, Roorkee, Guwahati, Hyderabad, Indore. These are the first 10 IITs where got the first rankings in this new NIRF rankings. Now, besides these, we have ISERS, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research. Is also a good place for doing research in mathematics. Besides this, we have Indian Statistical Institute, which has branches in Kolkata, which has head offices in Kolkata, and Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Tezpur, and now a branch is in Giridhar. Now, along with this, we have 40 central universities all over India, and among this 40 central universities, 15 of them conduct their own entrance test, and some use common entrance test. 15 central universities use common entrance test to enroll in that their universities. And of course, you can do research in state universities also, or in deemed universities also. And also, there are some funding institutes or funded institutes of central and state governments where also you can do research. So these are the places where you can conduct your research work. Now, what are the basic qualifications to do this research? Now, usually we say that the minimum qualification required is UGC CSIR NET with a junior research fellowship. And of course, if you have a lectureship, eligibility for lectureship, you can join the university, state universities, for doing research work. Now, other option is that you can take a GATE. You can write the GATE examination and have a GATE score, valid GATE score, with which you can enroll in IIC or NIT or IITs or ISES. So many places you can do research. Now, I have just given so many websites also. If you want, you can just note it down because in coming slides, there will be a lot of websites, details of the websites coming as a reference. You can see all this and note it down if you are interested in. Next, if you want to enroll in central universities, that is almost 15 central universities conduct their own common entrance test. And this is the website for this common entrance test, KUKSET exam.in. And of course, the Central University of Kerala is also taking students from this. Now, next one is there are some funding agencies like National Board of Higher Mathematics, NBHM, or Indian Statistical Institute also have their own entrance procedures for enrolling research. Now, if many people are there who has not yet qualified the CSIR net, or they have not qualified the GATE, or they are not qualified the entrance test. Besides these, they can continue their research, or if they are really interested in research, they can go for research by looking into the project fellowships. There are a lot of agencies like INSA, NBHM, DST. They are providing fellowships for funded projects. So sometimes the funded projects may hire project fellows, and in that there is an opportunity for doing PhD also, continuation with the project fellowship. So you can see into the university news, that magazine called University News, or Current Science. You can see these magazines, they used to publish lot of advertisements where you can go for project fellowship or this research work, and which leads to a PhD degree. So this is another opportunity for the researchers if they want to do research with a fellowship. This whatever I have told, these all categories will get a good fellowship. I think it is around 40,000 nowadays, or there is some hike in recently on these fellowships. So these are the some of the fellowships which we can take up. Now, I was a DST fellow and I have completed my PhD as a DST fellow at Center for Mathematical Sciences in Pali. Now, moving further, there are a lot of other state fellowships also. That is one of the prominent one is that the INSPIRE program of the DST. That INSPIRE program is for the bright students who has either got a rank in the university exams, but they have not qualified the NET or NET exam or GATE exam. They can go for this INSPIRE program. INSPIRE program has three main categories. That is, one is scheme for early attraction of talents, scholarship for higher education. Then third one is assured opportunity for research careers. The first two are for graduates as well as for school students, and the third one, the assured opportunity for research careers. This is what for the students or aspirants who are completed their PhD. Sorry, who are completed their post-graduation. Now, let us see what each means. The scheme for early attraction for talents is for students who have scored good marks in class 10 board exams. If they have scored a good marks in board exams, they can apply for this INSPIRE fellowship, and they will get a fellowship of rupees 5,000 per month during their advanced career. That is during their higher secondary and graduation. So next one is for graduates. That is, if you are a good, if you are having a good score in your higher secondary, then you can try for a graduation, and of course you can continue this for the MSc also. So they will give a fellowship to each student. Of course, there are 18 subjects in this scheme, where mathematics and statistics is also included. So this is one other opportunity for doing research work. Next comes the scheme of assured opportunity for research careers. This is another program of the INSPIRE, which is where once if you have completed a post graduation, then you will get a fellowship for doing your research work and it is at par with the fellowship of the CSIR net fellowship. So you will get a good fellowship by this Inspire program also, provided as I know, I think the first rank is, or a bright student only gets this Inspire fellowship or faculty scheme, sorry, Inspire fellowship program. And after that, this after this scheme, once you have been an Inspire fellow in any of these categories, you have the opportunity to apply for the Inspire faculty program. Inspire faculty program is nothing but, if you are interested in to join some institute, suppose you want to join some universities nearby, you can simply apply for Inspire faculty program, and you will be enrolled in the university at par with the faculties of that, even though there is no other vacancies. And after once you have got appointment in that, you will be in the next interview, where if there is opening in that particular university, in the next interview you will be able to join the same university as a normal assistant professor, or like that. So this is what we call the Inspire faculty scheme. So for the details, you can log into the DST site. Inspire DST site is there, so you can log into that, and so you can join that also. Along with this, there are some state fellowships also. Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, which is a funding agency in Kerala, which is at par with the DST, or it's a sub counterpart of the Department of Science and Technology, where funding is being provided by DST. So the KCST is also providing fellowships for researchers. For getting that fellowship, what you have to do simply, this fellowship is meant for students who have got the first 10 ranks in their post-graduation. If you are one among the first 10 post rank holders in the postgraduate studies, then of course you can apply for this fellowship. And here you will get the same fellowship, and 100 fellowships will be given in various subjects, where mathematics is also one among the subjects. So MSc students in any subject with the candidate should have a first 10 ranks in the universities in Kerala, not abroad, not outside Kerala. It is only for students inside Kerala. Okay, so for details you can go to the KCST site. Now, once you have got some fellowships, or besides these, you can join with some funded projects also. In that also you will get a fellowship. So once you have enrolled for PhD using some fellowships, and now you are ready for, you are having some fellowship for you to continue your research. The next question is to select a supervisor. This is a main important factor where you select a good supervisor to guide you. This is very important, because if the supervisor is not good, the exposure for you will be that much little. So in that case, you have to select a supervisor with a keen interest in the subject. So how to select the supervisor? There are, first of all, if a supervisor is having a good citation of publications, then you can select that supervisor. How to see whether your supervisor is having a good publications? You can simply go to Google Scholar citations. There, if your supervisor is having a citation score, you can see so many indexes given there, like H index, G index, I10 index. These are all factors which will decide whether your supervisor is good or not. Your supervisor has published papers in Scopus indexed journals or Web of Science indexed journals. I will say what all these things are. And if they have a good number of citations, then you can definitely choose that particular supervisor. So this is the step whether you choose a good supervisor. So what are the criterions? Suppose you have seen the Google Scholar citation, you can see that there is written some value called H index. What is H index? H index is an author level matrix, that is for a scientist or a researcher, they will be having an H index. What is that? The measure this measures the productivity and citation impact of the publications of the scientist. What is this? This is that suppose the author has some 50 publications. Then now his H publications has been cited H times. If his H publications has been cited H times, then his H index is that value. That is the maximum value that his citations have publications have been cited. Suppose he has 10 publications and all the 10 publications has got 10 citations, then his H index will be 10, like that. So for more details, you can see these references. And this is actually developed by Mark Donald Kim in his 2005 paper, Physicists Proposes New Ways to Rank Scientific Outputs. Next index, which is a new one, is the G index, which has recently got interest. The G index is calculated based on the distribution of citations received by a given researcher's publications. That is actually, this is if you write the publications citations in the descending order or a decreasing order, then you can see that the G index is the largest number that his G articles receive a maximum of G square citations. If his 10 articles, suppose he has 20 publications and his 10 articles has got 10 has got 100 citations, then his G index will be 10, like that. So this was actually developed by Egg L, and in his paper Theory and Practice of the G Index. It's a Scientiometry, it's a journal. This is actually the way of writing the author, and this is title of the paper, then the journal name and volume number and page number and the year. And this is a number, this is a reference is actually the digital object identifier. Digital DOI, digital object identifier. That is a unique code given to this particular paper. Each paper published in the website will be given this DOI number. So by this number you can track the publication. This is what this DOI means. Now there are other ways to check whether your supervisor is good or not. They will be having a Scopus author ID. What is Scopus ID? Scopus ID is nothing but ID which is created automatically when a paper is published in Scopus indexed journals. This number is this ID. If your paper has been first published in the Scopus indexed journal, then automatically they will create an ID for you, and that will be provided. This is, for example, this is my Scopus ID, and nowadays they have just Scopus has just moved their IDs to ORCID ID. ORCID ID. Now everybody is using ORCID ID for identifying the supervisor. That is ORCID ID. ORCID ID is nothing but Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It's an Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It is nothing but, it's also to identify a researcher, whether he has published a books, papers, manuscripts, or conference proceedings. Whatever he has published, he will be addressed, or if you submit a paper, they will ask for an ORCID ID. These are the IDs which identifies a uniquely identifies you as a unique author. That is used. These IDs are used for that purpose. Now, one more ID is there. It is the Web of Science Researcher ID. This is also a unique researcher ID which is given by Web of Science. Now the Publons, which is a new framework of this Web of Science, they use this researcher ID. This is also ID which is created when, or we can also create by ourselves. This ORCID ID and Web of Science IDs can be created by yourself with your affiliation. And automatically when you publish, you can add that publications to your researcher ID as well as this ORCID ID if you want. These are, I have given my ORCID IDs and researcher IDs for your reference. So you can simply go to this website and you can see whether you can prepare a ORCID ID or not. You can just go and check. Okay. Now, by this, we can see whether the author is having some impact on research work. So if he's having a good research work, or he's having as a Scopus ID, then definitely you can join with him because he is a good researcher in that particular area. So by this, we can start our research work by selecting the author. Next is that after joining the research, we have to improve our background in the subject. So this is very important part, because if you want to gain knowledge, you have to improve your subject skills. So for that, there are many institutes where they provide advanced level training in different subjects, in mathematics as well as in other subjects also. So you can attend various training programs to develop your subject knowledge. So for that, what you can do is you can apply for I hope this is MTTS. MTTS is for graduates actually. For those who are in first year undergraduates or in mathematics, they can join for this MTTS program. But for you people, it is for researchers, or once you have completed the post graduation, it is the ATM schools, the advanced training in mathematics schools. These are the places where you can go and improve your subject knowledge. These are ATM schools always publishes a list of papers or a list of subjects they are going to teach in the particular year. And nowadays it may not be working because of this pandemic. Earlier it was like this. They will be preparing a schedule for the year where different subjects will be given, and you can select one subject and you can apply for that particular subject to join. It may be happening in some parts of the country in India, and if you join that, they will give you travel fare, food, accommodation, everything is free, and you simply want to learn the subject. This is the only thing what you have to do. So this is actually funded by the National Board of Higher Mathematics, and the same website, these details can also be found in the website of National Board of Higher Mathematics. Department of Atomic Energy is supporting National Board of Higher Mathematics. So even the DIO website is also giving details about this. Now after getting the thorough knowledge in the subject, next is what is actually the research process. Now we want to see what research process is, or what research process means. Actually research is a it's a hierarchical process actually. Like first you simply identify a problem. Suppose you don't know what exactly the problem is, but you know some problem is there in that particular field or that particular subject. Suppose you are having a problem in that. Now what you do is you start your detailed literature survey. Now you, after doing the literature survey, you should do a thorough literature survey. In between, while doing the literature survey, you can even write a review paper also. If you are doing the research work, you can make details of this. You can study the historical background, all these things you can do, and you make a literature review of that particular problem. And finally, you refine actually what is the problem, or what is the hypothesis. Now this is the third stage, that is hypothesis formulation or problem formulation. This is where you start your research problem. Now once you have coined out your research problem, the next step is to start your research design. You have to think about a design where you will be. There are so many research designs available, but I'm not going to deeper into that. Anyhow, you form a research design out of this. In which way you will be proceeding your research work. Sometimes you may be you need data collection, or sometimes you may need some other areas. Sometimes it may be a interdisciplinary research. Then you have to get this subject's knowledge about that particular subject. Then you have to go to that some places where the material is available, and you collect the information from that place. These are all the things which you have to do. So data collection. Once you have research design is ready, you go for data collection. After data collection, you collect. Data collection means sometimes it may be numerical data, or sometimes it may be the data available in the books. So you collected all the information required for solving your research problem. Now using that, you analyze this data. That means you may sometimes use this data, means you may use the information collected from the books and journals, and you analyze that data, and finally end up with a generalization. What is actually happening through this particular literature review and this research design and data collection, and after analyzing this data you will end up with a generalized formation of your research problem. Now you interpret what you have studied about this research problem and what you have ended up. Now if this interpretation is worth publishing, suppose you think that this much research is enough for publishing, or this is the end of the, if suppose in some areas, suppose in graph theory sometimes we may develop certain new formations, suppose you develop some new definitions, and in that case you try to do whatever possible in that particular area. Otherwise what happens is you will you will introduce some basic idea into the community, and others who know this very well will take this research ideas and they will publish a number of papers in that area. So better you first develop all the ideas, you first develop, or you discover whatever is possible from that particular definition, and then go for publication. So it is only when you think that now this is publishable, or this you can publish this material as all together or as a different papers within no time. If this is possible, then only you go for publication. So after this you will go for a report writing. Now report writing means it can be a thesis writing. This is the same as the procedure for thesis writing also. This is the same thing. Now report writing means it can be writing a research paper also. Now I will say what are the steps for doing the research, writing a research paper. What should you think when you write a research paper? Now when you write a research paper, what are the guidelines for writing a good research paper? The first thing is that whatever things you define, it should be defined clearly with the support of bibliographies. Suppose if you are defining some terms, it should be explained very clearly and provide a list of bibliographies with that. Other thing is that you have to carefully write in a unique writing style. You have to write in a unique writing style. It should not be that the tense should be different in different areas. It's a present tense is commonly used when you write the introduction or the introduction and your findings, and conclusion you can do it as a past tense because you have already done, and by that you are presenting your work. Now use innovative ideas and ways to justify your research work, and have a clear understanding about the subject. It is not that you are going to misjudge the referees of a journal, particular journal. So don't do that. You have to just make a clear understanding of the subject. And the writing should be simple. It should not be like so many things are written, like you confuse the researcher or the referee so that they may publish this. No, it is not a good habit. You simply write in a simple language. Simple language, it's an understandable language so that they can understand what you have actually done. Don't use unnecessary jargons in your paper. Okay, now develop the knowledge, develop a thorough knowledge of the subject. So when you start your writing the paper, you should it should reflect that you know the subject very well. Otherwise, what happens is that they will sometimes they may have questions in that particular areas. So many comments will be coming in that particular area. So you have to develop a thorough knowledge in the subject. Now finally, you have to carefully proofread from top to bottom of the article. You have to carefully read that whether everything is correct, spelling, grammar, everything is correct. There are so many softwares which I will say later to check all these things. So you thoroughly proofread your article. And finally, when you go for publication, you strictly follow the instructions of the approving or publishing authority. You have to strictly read the about the author and about the paper area of the publication once you go for publication. Okay, now once you have understood what is in this writing, after writing the paper, you will obviously start try to publish it. So so how to collect the material for doing your research work? There are so many sites which gives free books and journals. I'm just giving a list of some of the websites where you can download books freely. Bookfy.net is a website where you can download books very easily, or libgen.lc is a site where you can download books and journals. This too I have verified, and this also I have sometimes I have got books from these sites also. So you can check these sites from where you can download books freely. Now next is that how to download research papers. Suppose you want to download research papers, then the sites are, of course, Google Scholar will help you to download many papers. You can download it from Google Scholar, or archive.org is a site where so many papers are available. But this sometimes the people publish in archive before its publication, so that people may refer their material, and after that they can publish it, and you can see the reference in that itself. You can see whether that paper is published or not. You can simply Google it to check whether the paper is published or not. There are so many other websites also where you can see the preprints of the papers published. Now, if you are having a subscription, if you are ready to pay a subscription, or your university is having a subscription, then you can download papers from these sites. That is JSTOR, Elsevier, the Science Direct, Inform World. All these sites are places where you can download papers in mathematics. Elsevier, Science Direct, Inform World is for Taylor and Francis. The Science Direct is for Elsevier, and Springer is also having a site like this. So you can Springer journals also you can download. Wiley publications also you can download. Now, next is that whenever you publish or want to publish some material, after reading all these papers and downloading and reading and what the procedure, after going through the procedure of the research procedure, you have to publish the papers in a good journal. So if you are want to publish in a good journal, you want to see what is the impact factor of that particular journal. That is the primary understanding of a journal, whether it is good or not. This is I think commonly used scientiometric index, which we commonly use for identifying whether a journal is good or not. The impact factor is one factor. And what is actually the impact factor? Impact factor is the yearly average number of citations that articles published in the last 2 years is in a given journal received. This is what impact factor means. How it is calculated? See, there is a formula is given. Impact factor of a particular year Y is nothing but the citations, number of citations in the just previous year and the just previous year. That is 2 previous years. Citations of the 2 previous years divided by the total number of publications in that particular 2 years. Suppose you want to find the impact factor of a journal in 2020. So for that, you have to take the number of citations of that particular journal for 2019 and 18 and divide it by the total number of publications of 2018 and 19. So when you get a number, this number is actually the impact factor of that particular journal. Now there is one more new idea which is evolved, that is called site score. Sometimes in some journals you can see site score is defined there in their journal. What is the site score? Site score is nothing but for the last 3 years, the same thing for the last 3 years. Sometimes they may use 4-year site score or 2-year site score also. In some journals they use 4-year site score, or some journals they use 2-year site score. So site score is actually what it is. Suppose you want to the site score of a particular journal, you have to take site score of the previously 3 years, that is from 17, 18, 19 number of citations in that particular time by the total number of publications. What is that? Site score for a particular year counts the citation received in the last 3 years from the current year to the articles, reviews, conference books, chapters and data papers published in last 3 years and divide this by the number of publications published in the last 3 years. Okay, this is what site score means. This is where you can find these details. Wikipedia is also giving these details. Next, an important factor which we have to think about is the plagiarism. Plagiarism is nowadays happening a lot. Even I have seen one of my paper when published has been copied from the first top to bottom, and later on the journal rejected that paper after publishing, saying that it is fully plagiarized. So this may happen nowadays. Suppose you are having you are seeing some ideas, and you think that, or you see some sentences, you try to lift that sentences and say that it is your own sentences. So if you say this, this is clear cut plagiarism. So plagiarism is considered as a form of intellectual theft and fraud. So nowadays their strict action will be taken from the universities as well as from the institutions if we have found plagiarisms in our art work. Without, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism means simply copying the others' ideas and saying that it is yours without you giving proper credit to the author. That is what we call plagiarism. So you can check plagiarism by yourself. There is a software called Grammarly which can check a little number of words can be checked using Grammarly. But if you have your article is a big one, then you go for a well-known plagiarism checking softwares. There are so many plagiarism checking softwares. I think in central libraries they have these softwares. Authenticate is the best one, as most of the researchers advise, and many journals also use Authenticate to check the plagiarism level. And Urkund is a software which commonly used in our places. I think Authenticate is more expensive than Urkund. That is why Urkund is being used in these areas. And also Grammarly is another software, and there are so many other plagiarism checking software in website also. You can simply Google it and you can see plagiarism checking softwares. Now, once your paper has been ready, after checking all these things, your paper is ready for publication. So when you go for publication, you should keep in mind that it should be in a good reputed journal. Now, how to know whether your journal is you are going to submit in a reputed journal, where that journal which you have selected is a reputed journal or not? You just go for the University Grants Commission Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics, UGC CARE list. This is a new initiative by the government of India, the University Grants Commission, to check the authenticity of a journal. This is a dynamic site where the listed journals will be changing each and every year, because if the quality of the journals is poor, they will remove that journals from the list, and new journals will be added if the quality is good. In that way, the journal is a dynamic journal. The website is a dynamic website, which is from UGC. So you can create a link of your own. You can create a you can register yourself into this UGC CARE list, and you can search whether your journal is good or not. And if the journal is cited in the Web of Science journal list, then of course you can see that will be a good journal. So most of the Web of Science and Scopus Index journals are already in the University Grants Commission CARE list. Okay, so you go whether your journal is in the Web of Science also. So the Clarivate Analytics is the company which governs this Web of Science, and they are maintaining this site. So you can search your journals in this particular site. Now, also you can check whether your journal is cited in the Scopus. As I told earlier, Scopus is the largest abstract and citation database of peer-reviewed literature. If your paper is Scopus indexed, then as I told, you will be getting a Scopus ID. Of course, your paper will be surely in UGC CARE list. So you check all these three sites and check whether your paper is there in these three lists. Okay. Now, there are so many other sites also which gives a list of journals, and this Science Citation Index journals. They give the list of journals which are already listed in this, or Science Citation Index journal ranking is being cited in this particular website. You can go to this website, you will see the ranking of these particular journals. Now, nowadays, suppose you want to publish a paper in a particular publisher's publishing journal. Suppose you want to publish a paper in Journal of in Elsevier journals. Okay, so now Elsevier has found out a new way to select which journal is appropriate for your article. It is very difficult for sometimes to find an article which is suitable for your particular paper. In that case, Journal Finder will help you in that. Journal Finder is there in almost all subjects. All publishers is having that facility. Journal Finder. Journal Finder is for Elsevier. Journal Suggester is for Springer, and Journal Finder is again for Wiley. So what they do is they ask for your title of the paper, your abstract, and then your keywords, and then they will list suitable journals in their publishing, which are the appropriate journals for your paper, and finally you can decide which is the best one. So earlier this facility was not there. We have to ourselves submit a paper in that particular journal, and then we will get a reply that this paper is not suitable for this journal. So then suddenly we have to bring it back and change the formats, and then again we have to submit it to another journal. This was going on, but now this facility is a very good facility, as I think, because we can identify, at least we can identify whether our paper is suitable for a particular journal. So this is very useful for you. I have just given the front page of that Journal Finder of this Spring Elsevier as well as this Springer. Okay, now you have published your material in this this. Now people used to present their work in the conferences also. It is a better thing that suppose we have found something in our we have found out some new results, then we want to share it with others also, so that they can refer our works. So in that case, you have to present it to the scientific community. In that case, you have to search where the conferences are going on. So this sites will help you to check whether where all places the conferences are going on. So this AMS MathCal is the site where you will see the conferences taking place which are approved by American Math Society. Then this is there is a change in, there is a correction. This is SIAM, SIAM, not ISAM. This is SIAM, SIAM.org, where SIAM meetings are going on. You will get a list of the SIAM meetings, and these last two sites, this allconferences.com and webconferencealerts.com, if you give the subject area and subject area of your choice, they will automatically send emails to you mentioning that these all places the conferences are taking place in this particular time. Like that, they will send weekly, they will send a mail regarding the conferences taking place in all around the world. So these two sites are very useful for those who want to see whether they want to, if they want to go for a conference, they can see all these places. Now, after publishing your work, or before publishing also, earlier, nowadays we have the facility to see whether the paper is good or not by downloading it and reading it. But earlier this facility was not there. We have no soft copy available. In that case, it is a tedious job to read all the papers and see whether that particular paper is useful for us or not. So in that case, what we do is we used to read mathematical reviews. The mathematical reviews are very good sites which will give a overall idea about the paper. And of course, after this mathematical reviews happens only after the publishing of that paper. Suppose your paper is published in a good journal, that paper will be sent to a reviewer, and that reviewer will see what all things you have used in that paper, and he will elaborate your results, and he will whatever you have done, he will elaborate in brief sentences, so that a researcher need not want to read all the paper and the entire paper, but these reviews will help them whether he want to take this paper or he does not want, he want to reject this paper. So this can be done using the mathematical reviews. So American Math Society, Central Bank for Math, all these are having their own mathematical reviews, and I am a reviewer of this American Math Society mathematical reviews. And even after publishing, you can also see your own papers, whether what they have written about our paper. because we can see whether that paper is good or it is copied from some other papers. All these things will be written in that particular math reviews. So this is a very useful thing. Now finally, you have published your paper. You can consolidate this and you consolidate your thesis. So finally we have to complete. After completing our PhD, we will be looking for various jobs in various institutions. So for that I have just 2 sites because these are very good sites. That is why I have posted this here, because if you want a job, if I want a career in mathematics in various places all over the world, you can go to this ims.org careers or mathjobs.com are 2 sites where you will see good and prominent jobs for mathematics career. So this is all for all about the research career. Okay, then continue further. I have just found out some applications for or sometimes if you are working in some areas, you will be thinking about what are the applications of these subjects. See, you can see these beautiful symbols in this logos. This is actually having a mathematical symmetries. So if you want to study further about these, you can go for the abstract algebra, because abstract algebra is one of the subject where these type of things are dealing with. And the remaining applications of abstract algebra, I am just listing out to you. There are abstract algebra has found applications in computer science, cryptography, and scheduling tasks on processes in a heterogeneous multiprocessor computing networks, alteration of pattern pieces for precise seam alignment or crystal symmetry in chemistry. All these use group theoretic concepts. So then if you come to differential equations, there are a lot of applications. Actually, in fact, this applied area, differential equations, most of the physicists and engineers use differential equations for solving their problems. Most of the physics, engineering, electrical, mechanical problems were solved by using this. Sound waves in air, linearized supersonic airflow, growth models, material sciences, electromagnetic analysis for detection by radar, signal processing, space shuttles, rocket launch trajectory analysis, control theory, non-linear dynamics, molecular and cellular mechanism of toxicity, nuclear physics, seismic wave propagation in the earth, heat transfer. All these areas you can apply differential equations. And differential and computational geometry, if you see, there are a lot of applications like computer-aided designs, terrain modeling, molecular beam apotaxy modeling, color balance in a photographic system, optics for design of a reflector, cryptology, airflow patterns in respiratory tracts. So these are the applications for computational geometry. Now coming to statistics, I have a lot of applications. Besides these, there are a lot of other applications also, but I have just listed some of the applications where you can look into. Calculation of insurance risks and price of insurance, analysis of statistical data taken by a census, reliability and uncertainty of large-scale physical simulations, speech recognition, signal processing, computer network designs, tracking and searching for submarines, estimation of ocean currents, paint stripping using lasers, aircraft survivability and efficiency, and colors sample acceptance, tolerance, correlation and prediction, reliability analysis of a complex system. These are all applications of this. And if you go for numerical analysis, estimation of ocean currents, modeling combustion flow, airflow patterns, regional uptake, transport and disposition, trajectory prescribed path, scientific programming, modeling of airflow over airplane bodies, design and analysis, curve fitting of tabular data, then operation research and optimization. I'm just not reading, you can read all these things. Network formation, shading, sorting, inventory control, search for and tracking motion of a space vehicle. Usually I used to explain all these things, but due to time I'm just reading it out. Aircraft survivability, interplanetary mission, coordinate measuring machines optics for design, reliability, and uncertainty of large-scale physical simulations. Now, these are some of the useful websites which you will be using in this. This is Genealogy. Max Genealogy is a website. A website where you can see all researchers starting from Bessel or from Bernoulli. You can see a list of, or a tree like structure where each scientist, if your teacher or supervisor is in the genealogy project, then of course you will also join this genealogy project, so that you will be as a tail end of this genealogy project. My supervisor is Dr. A. Mathai, and I am just a tail of Dr. A. Mathai, and his supervisor is Wilmington from Toronto. So his name is under Wilmington, and like that we will end up as an ancestral. If you go back, you will see Bessel or Bernoulli or Jacobi. All these comes under these scientists, or we are working under like that. So finally, you can also join this genealogy project once your papers are accepted in very good reputed journals. So this math related news you can read by mathnews.net in the sites. Then find the tutorials. This AMS website is a very good website where, and London Math Society website. I am a member of this, affiliate member of this American Math Society as well as this London Math Society. So I will get the updates of these two websites all the time. And being a reviewer, I am in the genealogy project also. So now there are so many other. Math Wolfram is a site where you will be able to do so many calculations. That Wolfram is having a famous Mathematica tool. You know, the software called Mathematica, which gives solutions of various problems in mathematics. Mathematica and Maple are two mathematical tools which we usually use for our research work, and also MATLAB. Sometimes we use MATLAB also, but Mathematica and Maple are very good because they contain a lot of special functions also. Because my area is special functions, these two softwares use lot of special functions, and I use this softwares very well. And there are some other sites. And so many sites more. I have just given these sites in my website also. You can simply search for my website. It is there. It's a Google site. So you can see that I have just put all these things in my website also. So you can see that as in the link, or I have put a link called the math links or useful links I have just given. So you can click on that and you see all these things. And I will update it soon. Recently, I will update that website also. You can simply refer to that. So many websites are there. I don't think that it will be able to write all these things, because so I have just given so many websites. Functions what Wolfram is a website where you can calculate this. Math Academy is also another website. Math.nistgov is another website. ams.org. These are all. UNICEF also is having one website on related to math. So, USIF, IEF. It's not UNICEF, USIEF. Sorry. Now, these are some of my publications.